Hey guys, what's up and welcome to Pondering Points Podcast. I am your host, Apostle MB, and I am honored and delighted to have you hanging out with me on the broadcast on today. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend, and as you're preparing yourself for your day, for this Monday, as well as for this entire week, I've got a point that I want to drop in your hearing that'll help you hopefully for this day as well as this week, and that is find the good. Find the good. You know, as I was preparing, just kind of, during the weekend, thinking about what I was going to talk about on today, and this topic or this thought dropped in my head because we all are facing and dealing with some very unusual times. You know, not just the coronavirus, but so many other things that many people are dealing with. Our three primary areas of our lives, I like to say, is our spiritual life and our physical life, and then our emotional life, and we have a tendency that those are the areas that we are challenged in, and those are the areas that we are oftentimes attacked in. And many people are dealing with financial issues and things of the sort. And if you're not careful, fear will come in. Fear will attack us, and we will become very fearful. And it seems like, especially when it seems like that the problem is bigger than the solution is. It is easy to get fearful when it seems like that the problem is outweighing. And in all actuality, when you think about even with this coronavirus, the problem is the virus. That is the problem, and the solution from a natural standpoint is a vaccine. And so that is the solution. And right now, this pandemic is bigger than the solution. But we know, of course, our ultimate solution is God. You know that He's never going to leave us or forsake us, and He's not going to leave us out here, and to go through this thing by ourselves. And so when we're faced, and this is kind of the angle that I want to go with you on today, whenever we're faced with problems such as this, problems that it almost appear that what you're going through with, that problem, that issue, that circumstance, when it seems like that it is larger or more powerful than your solution to that problem, this is when we can either take one or two approaches. This is how we can really handle it. Now, if you remember me talking some time back that, oftentimes people see how you respond. They see how you deal with things. They see how you respond to certain things. And so even with this, in the face of dealing with problems and issues and uncertainties and all these other things, either we can act like babies and cry and whimper and poke our lips out and just really run around and act like that there is no hope, act like that there is no solution, act like that there is no help. We can be like, when a baby cry, that baby, go back and think about it whenever some of you guys had young kids or babies, just on yesterday, my nephew, my nephew's girlfriend brought over their baby, and which is my great nephew, and he was doing real good for a while there here at the house, and then he broke out like all babies break out and go to crying, and they cry as if there's no milk in the house. They cry as if there's nothing, to no type of solution to their problem, and they just cry and all that other stuff. And that's one of the approaches that we can take. We can take that approach, and we can become downcasted. We can become get into a state of depression, and we can just get into a place in our life emotionally as well as mentally, and we'll act like a baby as if there's no hope, there's no solution, there's no help for us. Or we can literally redirect ourselves and take a different look. We can take a different look at that situation. And by doing this, and this is where I want to go at with you on today when it comes to that taking a different look. We can do this by finding the good in that situation. Now you might say, well, Apostle Beckton, now this stuff here, I'm going through with some bad stuff, because see, some of you guys listening to me today, some of you are dealing with issues that could literally take your life, not just the coronavirus, but some dealing with cancer, some dealing with other health issues, some are dealing with issues that could cause you to become homeless, some are dealing with issues that could cause you to enter into a state of divorce or into a different type of state of your life, that you could be jobless, or all these type of other things that you are facing in your life, because these are unusual times. But in all of that, we can take either one or two approaches. I can either act like there's no hope, or I can take a different look. Amen. And when we look at that different look, that literally means we can refocus. And that's where I want to talk to you for a few moments today, to refocus. Now, most of the time when we talk about that word, and that word refocus means to take a different look, to take a different look, to look at it in a better way. Because, I often hear people, and I've always heard people say that, don't miss the forest for the trees. And sometimes I tell people, don't miss the trees for the forest, because sometimes we look so at one specific thing that we miss even the bigger picture. And so when we begin to find, so how do we find good in the midst of some of the most horrific occasions in our life? How do we deal with that? How do we find that good thing? And I'm glad you asked, because there are several passages of scripture. And again, you guys know how I roll, and that in the midst of all of this stuff that goes on in the Bible, and all this that is written, in Ecclesiastes, the preacher, he wrote in several passages. One was Ecclesiastes 2:24. The other one, Ecclesiastes 3:12, and the other one is Ecclesiastes 8:15. And he just simply says, there's nothing no greater than to eat, drink, and enjoy your work. Or in one passage it said your toil. That word toil means work. In another passage it says to enjoy your labor. That means the fact that we should not become so bogged down and so serious and so offset by the issues of life, when the most important things for us is to eat, drink, and just simply enjoy our work. So as we begin to look at, because we have to look at the bigger picture. We have to look at that bigger picture. So how do we do that? A few years back, my sister-in-law turned me on to this show. It was a gentleman that had it, and the show still may be on now. I haven't seen it in a number of years, but it was hosted by Andrew Zimmern. And this gentleman would go all over the world and eat some of these most exotic and unusual and interesting foods. And he, all sorts of stuff that I've seen on his show, that he'd eaten, from raw foods to, all just sorts of stuff. But he had one particular episode that I thought was real interesting. And this is how I think we need to take the approach, because if we don't be careful, our problems will render us useless for other things and other people. In other words, people will not get any good benefits out of our life because we have become consumed by our own calamities or by our own problems. And so Mr. Andrew, he in his show, he had went into an area, and I don't even remember what the area was, but he went into this area in one of these foreign countries, and it was a type of fishing that they were doing, and this was their livelihood. This was in a state that if they didn't catch a fish, they didn't eat, and if they went some days without eating, they could literally die. So this was their life was based upon them eating in that place. And so literally what they did, they had to go. It was the fish that they were catching in that area was a very muddy, solid mud type of water that they had to go through with. And oftentimes they would use a machete to cut literally those areas so that they could get their hands. They couldn't use fishing poles or anything of that sort. And they had to literally feel inside of that, that muddy, milky stuff and grab hold of fish. And from there, they were able to pull that fish out. And so the attitude for those gentlemen was not, oh my God, we got to get all muddy and all this other stuff. Their attitude was that they were excited because they knew that they were going to eat. So when they saw activity going on, they got really excited. They really got excited, and their smiles came on their face because they knew that even though they were going to have to dig into this muck and mire, it was going to pay off for them, and it was going to prove to be profitable for them because of the fact that they went through that. So they literally saw the good in the midst of that so that they would be able to eat and live another day. So I thought about that. And when I thought about that, I thought about three specific things. And I want you, and I'm going to be done. Three specific things. One, find. Two, expect. And three, make. So let's look at this real quickly, and I am out of here. Point number one, we've got to find the fun in it. Everything, no matter what it is, there is a level of humor in it. Learn to laugh when you want to cry. This is how you find the good in it. Learn to laugh when you want to cry. Even in some of the worst situations, find the fun in it. Okay, it's a task. It's a task I've got to get done. I need to get this thing done. So why not enjoy doing it? Find the fun in it. Find the laughter in it. And guess what? You'll get past it even better. Find, that's important. Find. Point number two, expect. Expect what? Expect the storm to pass. Expect the storm to pass. Do you know that there is no all the time storms? There is no all the time storms. There is no storms that keeps going all the time. Every storm has an expiration date. Every storm has an end date. Every problem has an end date. So what you got to do is expect the end. Don't keep on prolonging it. Know that this storm is going to pass. See the sun on a cloudy day. Do you know that the sun is shining? The sun is shining. The clouds have just got between you and the sun. Let me say that again. The clouds have gotten between you and the sun. Do you know when a storm comes, the sun don't leave? It don't say, well, okay, there's a storm and I'm gonna just leave. No, the sun is still shining. The clouds have just got between you and the sun. God is still who he is. A problem, an issue have just gotten between you and him. But listen here, the sun is still shining. So you've got to expect that this too is going to pass. So whatever problem you're dealing with, whatever circumstance you're going through with, just know this thing is going to pass over. It's going to get past this. This thing is going to come to an end. Point number three, and I'm done. Make the best of it. Make the best of it. Because if you don't, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be miserable all the time. Let me just say that again. Make the best of it. Because if you don't, you're going to be miserable all the time. Matter of fact, in point number two, I jotted in my note, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is no endless tunnels. There is no endless tunnel. Where the end is where the light is. Let me go back to number 3 and I'm done. Make the best of it. Amen. Because if you don't, you're going to be miserable all the time. Closing point is this. All of us have been told with this coronavirus to keep ourselves safe that there are 3 things that we're to do. We are to wash our hands. We are to wait 6 feet, distancing ourselves, and we are to wear the mask. Well, I took an approach and I took a thought and I decided, okay, since I've got to wear these masks, and these masks at times seem like they are restricting my breathing, and at times it seemed like, it's just all uncomfortable and it's just all just, almost kind of miserable and you don't really like it. And so I can take the approach, again, we got 1 or 2 approaches. I can take the approach that I'm going to be mad, I'm going to be sad. Well, I'm not even going nowhere, because if I got to wear a mask, I'm not leaving the house. I can be miserable, because listen here, if you don't make the best of it, you're going to be miserable. You're going to miss out on a whole lot of stuff and all that stuff because you choose not to wear a mask. So this is what I said, and this is my approach that I took as it relates to these masks, and this is how you can make the best out of it. So what I decided, since I've got to wear this thing, since I've got, every time I go out at work, when you guys know I work at the funeral home, and so when customers come in, we have to put our masks on to protect ourselves and to protect them while there are people there, and everywhere I go, stores, where I eat, restaurants, wherever, we've got to put the mask on. So since I've got to wear this mask, so what I decided was, hey, since I got to do it, why not make a fashion statement? So I went out and had a couple of masks monogrammed. I had a couple for the job. I had a couple of masks, had the funeral home logo put on the side of my mask. I had a couple of them with the church logo put on the side of it. I got some different color masks to wear certain outfits. When I'm wearing blue, I got a blue mask on. When I'm wearing white, I got a white mask on. When I'm wearing black, I got my black mask on. Why am I doing that? I'm making the best of a bad situation. I'm making the best of it. So why just walk around? If I got to do it, then why not make a fashion statement and go ahead and put it out and listen here and enjoy the ride until you get over. This thing will eventually end. This thing will come to an end. But until then, listen here, just simply make up in your mind that I'm not going to let this thing defeat me. I'm not going to allow this thing to do so. What am I going to do? I'm just going to simply find the fun in it. I'm going to expect this thing to pass, and then I'm going to make the best of it until it do pass. And if you'll do that today, and if you'll do that this week, it'll reshape your day, and it'll reshape your week, and it'll cause you to be able to move forward into that. So every time you want to complain, every time you want to act, just I don't like this, I don't like that, or whatever, and this and that and the other, just simply remember these 3 points, and I'll guarantee you it'll bring you right on through it, and eventually we will be out of this. Guys, this has been Apostle MB with your pondering points for the day. I hope this helped you out a whole lot. And I look forward to you catching me back next week again for another pondering points. Guys, please stay safe this week and this day and this week, and continue to do what you can do until we get past this thing. So do this. Find the good in it. Until next time, shalom.